Hello, welcome to another Knowing You show. I'm Tiffany Cano, and today we have Tamara Golden on with us. Now, she helped me a couple of years ago when I was planning my spiritual retreat in Italy. And she is a wealth of information for anybody who wants to plan retreats abroad. And maybe she does it also in the US. But I remember her gifts were like knowing places to go and services to use throughout the world. So let me tell you a little bit about Tamara. She's the owner and founder and CEO of Journeywork Retreats, a full-service retreat strategy and planning company operating across the US and worldwide. From the done with you courses to done for you services, Journeywork Retreats supports coaches, healers, and creatives in creating retreats that grow your brand through accelerated outcomes for your clients while increasing enrollments, referrals, and revenue for your business.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So, since your big thing is traveling the world and helping people to travel the world, and things have been a little wonky this year with restrictions when it comes to traveling, how have you been navigating it, and how have you helped others who have wanted to do retreats and workshops near and far?
Well, the answer to that question is really it's two. I mean, you asked how have I been managing that or navigating that, and I would say there's one answer I would give you on the professional side, and there's another answer I would give you on the personal side. So I'll start with the professional. Obviously, when we went into lockdown in March, none of us could possibly have imagined how this would look, but initially we had to many of us scramble. And if you're in the event space, as I am, there was a lot of cancellations, rescheduling of events, rescheduling of retreats, rescheduling of trips that people had planned in relation to their retreats. And so there was a lot of that happening early on that I was helping people navigate through. Now, as this has lingered on, where we're starting to see a little bit more activity is helping people understand how they can do virtual retreats and offer virtual retreats to their tribe and have that be something that's effective in the interim.
So what do you mean by virtual retreat?
Well, I have to say, so an online retreat. So essentially, a retreat where you don't pick up and go somewhere, but you physically are coming together in community still. And there's that sense of connection and community that is still very much a part of the event. And you, as the facilitator, leading your people through some aspect of learning or growth or healing. So there's still that aspect of it. It's just that you're not picking up and going somewhere physically together as a group. And so it can be done. It's not quite the same thing, but people have been doing it and they've been doing it very effectively.
Mm-hmm. How would that differ from an online workshop?
I'd say where it differs from an online workshop is really the length and probably the intensity of what you're teaching. I really view workshops or webinars as a way to have people really more of a client attraction mechanism where they have a people gives people a chance to kind of have a taste of what you do, hear about your expertise. It builds that know, like, trust. And then I would say a retreat is much as it would be if you were taking them off in person, normally something that you're doing as part of a client retention tool. So it's you're working there with clients who have already been with you. Maybe you've done some coaching with them or whatever it is that you're some healing with them. And now they have a chance to do a deeper dive with you. So I look at it as being something that's for the repeat client and is going deeper into the material that you cover. And it's going to be there for a little bit longer time that you're spending with people.
Okay. I do a lot of online stuff, and in my mentor group a couple weeks ago, I I took a piece, like a picture from, and I might have even included a short video of my spiritual retreat that I led in India, because I wanted to fit it in with a topic that we were doing. And so I was like, okay, now imagine you're here. Now receive the blessings as if you were here. So something like that.
Well, Tiffany, you know what they say? The mind actually doesn't know the difference between something imagined and something real. So if you can see it in your mind's eyes and you can imagine it, then you can receive the blessing from it and receive the energy from it. It's not quite the same thing. It's sort of like the AT&T ad. It's the next best thing to being there. I think I just dated myself by mentioning that, but yeah, it's not quite the same thing. And it doesn't, I mean, a virtual retreat, even though they can be very effective, they've been wonderful for building connection and community. And they've even been helpful in converting to sales for those people who use them as a business building mechanism. But it's not quite the same thing, because the one thing that's missing from a virtual retreat is you're not taking people out of their homes and away from their distractions. And
Mhm.
so I would say that's one piece that you have to really work hard to carve out in a virtual event, a virtual retreat.
And how long do you suggest these online virtual retreats last for?
I've seen people do it a couple of different ways. I would say either 2 or 3 days where you're going a little bit longer in the day. But I also know people, it kind of depends on what you're teaching and it depends on your tribe. But I've seen people also do it over an extended period of time in shorter blocks of time. So let's say 5 days, 2 hours a day. It really kind of depends on, and I think it's something that you need to ask your clients what they're up for, what they can manage, and what they're really in for, and what they can commit to.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been playing around with, different ideas and what feels right. And I think it has come down to topics, like what kind of topics I want to do, who I want to, you know, share them with.
Yeah.
And so I've had different ideas, and so that would be something to consider for me personally. And what are some of the other silver linings that you think have come out of this year?
Well, silver linings, I think, by the way, one of the silver linings is I think, we all can agree virtual is going to be here to stay. And adding virtual retreats to people's business has actually been kind of an eye opener. I wouldn't say it's ever going to replace coming together in person, but I see us very much moving toward a hybrid model where people offer both, they do a combination within their business. So I think that's a silver lining, is that it's really forced us to think very differently and be creative and think of new ways of doing things, right? And serving our clients and meeting them where their deepest area of need is. I think another silver lining for me personally has been the ability to meet new professionals and connect with um, uh, new communities through online events that I would never have been able to attend if I've been attending events
Yeah.
all around the country and bebopping around and meeting different people. I'll go to a networking event in, let's say, Cleveland, or, fill in the blank, Tucson. And then inevitably I always go very much by my gut and energetically. And there'll always be sort of two, three, four people that I follow up with. And there's something about their energy or something about the way they've introduced themselves or what it is that they do. And it ends up leading to a deeper conversation after the fact. So I have met an awful lot of people over the last 6 months, and they may be, future clients, future collaborators, future people that I'm able to send business to. But it's just been, I would not have met all of those people had I been busy working in my business. So, and I've gotten, I would say, another silver lining for me, Tiffany, as much as I've just talked about virtual events, I see them as a means to an end, a means for filling an eventual in-person event, I've gotten so clear that in-person retreats is my juju and my jam. I love in-person retreats, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So the virtual for me is very much a means to an end, but I can't wait till we get back to the in-person retreats.
And what kind of tips could you offer someone who wants to create their own in-person retreat, or I would say online retreat, given the space that we're in now?
Given the space that we're in, really, I would say think about what you would want to craft in an in-person retreat, and then reverse engineer that. So the beauty of it is you don't have to pay for a venue, you don't have to get on a plane, nobody has to get themselves there, right? So there are
Yeah.
some pros to this, okay? There really are some pros, and that means that more people may be able to join you because they don't have the restriction of travel, and maybe they don't have the restriction of the price tag attached to it. But I would still say a retreat for me is a magical, powerful, sacred platform where you really take your deepest work and you go to the deepest expression of the gifts that you have to offer. And so I would treat it as that sacred vessel and vehicle, and really give some thought to how you want to spend that time with your tribe, and then make it as special as you can. I mean, I have people who are sending little gift boxes ahead of time, so they have little candles and they can do rituals and ceremonies. They have little spa packages, so they can even, do a little session where they kind of feel like they're getting a spa treatment. I mean, there people have gotten so creative with it, and have really, they've done beautiful job of making their tribe feel very special and very cared for during that time, as in fact you would with your folks if you had them on retreat in person. So it can be done. It's like I said, I don't think it's ever going to be as good as the real deal, but it can be done in a way that makes everybody feel connected and part of a beautiful community.
Mm, love it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think those little special touches help to give the feel of what it might have been had we all been together in person. I
Yeah.
noticed that some of the workshops, they weren't even retreats, but workshops this year have had the something physical connected to it, like,
Yeah.
a box with gifts of some sort. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it's important because it keeps it kind of fun. It keeps a little mystery. Oh, don't open that envelope until day 3, and I just we need to have some fun right now. We need the connection. We need the community. We need some fun. I think it's part of what's helping us all through this, because psychologically, emotionally, and I know the word social distancing. I know the preference for a lot of people is to call it physical distancing, because we all really need to feel socially close. We're humans and we need that.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah, I
intuitives and
like
empaths need that more than anyone.
There's been so many online events that I've attended or taught. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I've learned to just surrender to this new quote unquote normal. And I actually love it. Like, the empathic part of me loves it. And I think too, like, the deeper we can meditate and connect with source and fill those voids that would have us be searching for that human to human connection really helps too.
Mm,
Like, there's been so many blessings that have come out of this that I really like personally.
yeah.
Um, so talk to me about I I've seen some emails where maybe you've mentioned, like, let's do a virtual retreat in Bali or a virtual retreat in some other place. So do you actually do like a show and tell of the retreats that you've done over there? Like, tell me about that.
No, I have to say, so I have actually been sharing. So early on when this first came out, I really, I got quiet and thought about how I could contribute. And one of the ways that I felt I could contribute to my tribe, who all love to travel, by the way, and don't just love to travel. It's it's what feeds their soul. It's one of the things that is absolutely lifestyle critical for them. And that's been really hard for me and many others who love to travel and can't get out and about in the world right now and explore. I actually started offering travel logs and I was doing them every week. So I was taking people every week to a different part of the world and
Mhm.
sharing with them the highlights, the tourist highlights of that area. So we would go to Florence, or we would go to Bali, or we would go to somewhere in France, or oh, I don't know. We've been to so many places. So I've scaled that back now to once a month, but I'm still offering that for my tribe because it's fun for me. And until we do get out there traveling, I mean, I've dabbled a little bit. I've been to several places in the U.S. and I actually went to Mexico and had a fantastic trip a couple of weeks ago to Mexico. So I'm getting out there and kind of doing my part to lead by example. But until we're back full force in traveling, I'll continue to offer those travel logs because at least it's feeding people's soul and it's allowing them to come together in community and either learn about a place they might go visit someday or reminisce about a
Mhm.
place that they've already been.
Yeah. Okay, so I love that idea. I can look at a picture or watch a video or TV and I can literally imagine myself there as real as if I were physically there. So I love your little virtual
My
show and
virtual,
tells.
yeah, I call it my armchair adventure series. Armchair
Yes.
travel.
Yes, love it. Great name for it too. And
Yeah.
and what do you have in store for next year? Like, what are you looking forward
Oh,
to the most?
I actually got really excited this year in sitting here thinking about how I could be doing things very, very different and working with the entrepreneurs that I work with. And for 2021, I'm going to actually be rolling out a new kind of easy plug and play portfolio of retreats that they can just slot into that are going to be in various locations around the world. So these are in relationships with vetted properties where I've either hosted events or sent people to and know the folks on the ground, know they're going to take very good care of my facilitators and their participants. And they're just going to be sort of plug and play. So they'll be at very specific price points and people can kind of pick and choose like they would from a menu. Takes away all the planning headache. All you have to do is kind of, show up with your tribe and teach. And I've heard that multiple times that that's what people want. And so I've actually now putting that in place to start with 2021 so people can begin to plan for either late 2021 or 2022 once we start to bring travel back. And some of those are locations in the US, so it's not, some of them don't even
Okay.
require a passport.
Okay, okay. Well, given that, parts of Europe aren't even letting us come, so that's good to have some ideas for local US travel.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And there are locations I think that are with a very strong energetic vibration. So Sedona, obviously being one, Santa Fe,
Love it.
Santa Barbara, and San Diego. I'm just all the Sands, Santa and Santas. But I'm concentrating on those four locations in the U.S. because they happen to be places that I think the energy is just incredible, and there's wonderful, fantastic things to do even outside of the venue where you're staying. So I think those will be four fantastic options here, at least just even here in the US.
Wonderful. And tell us about your free gift. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here in the
Yeah.
chat.
So what I would invite folks to do is go to our website, and that's journeyworkretreats.com. The name of my company, Journeywork Retreats, no tricky spellings. And we offer a free retreat ready assessment on there. So it's a 15-question assessment that really has you examine where you are in your business and leads to an outcome that helps you figure out kind of where you might be in your journey of offering retreats. Is it something that you're ready for in your business now, something you can be thinking for a couple of years from now? But it really kind of helps you begin to think about where you might be in terms of embedding retreats into your business model.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for offering that.
You're welcome.
Any other final words that you have for tonight?
I just would say, you asked about silver linings, and I think that 2020 has opened up such a it's always how you look at things, right? And there's always a gift and there's always an opportunity. And sometimes you have to ask those questions very specifically if you're not getting dropped, they're not dropping into you immediately. And I would just say, to really sit with what the gifts and the opportunity are for 2020, whether that's deepening your spiritual journey, deepening your connection with source, changing, or in some cases, not changing what you do in your business and gaining greater clarity. But it's all a gift. And 2020 is here for a reason. And so I would say embrace it, embrace it and learn from it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you.
Prayers and love to all, especially everyone who is coping with natural disasters right now. God bless everyone. Amen. Bye-bye.
Amen. Thank you.
You're welcome.